For years, I was operating under a belief that I never consciously chose. It wasn't written down anywhere, no one handed it to me, but it was there. And the belief was, if I'm not straining, I'm not gaining. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't count. If I'm not exhausted, hey, I didn't do enough. I gotta try harder. This was smooth, must not be significant. I feel energized today. I must be slacking. And here's what's wild. I didn't even know that I believed it, but it was shaping my schedule, it was shaping my pace, and it was shaping my identity. Because somewhere along the way, strain became a measurement of my progress. On the outside, things were working, projects were launching, money was moving, people were watching, and momentum looked real. But on the inside, I was tight, not physically tired, internally tight. Always slightly braced, always anticipating the next push, and always wondering if I had done enough. Even on my off days, my mind was still sprinting. And I wouldn't allow myself to rest because rest felt irresponsible. I couldn't fully enjoy my wins because I was always calculating the next climb. I was achieving, but I wasn't at peace. I was building, but I wasn't breathing. And that's when I realized I wasn't driven by vision. I was being driven by pressure. Oh, expanders. I've got something for you today. Because maybe you're there too. Because we live in a culture that idolizes exhaustion. Hustle harder, outwork everybody. While they sleep, you grind. Sleep when you're dead. We've normalized burnout. We glamorize the 80-hour work week. We applaud the person who hasn't taken a day off or a vacation in years. We repost the quotes about sacrificing everything, as if depletion equals dedication, as if suffering equals seriousness, as if calm equals complacency. But I'm gonna ask you something that really at the beginning of this year, if I'm being honest, I just got this revelation. Hey, when I say I'm in it with you, that means I'm growing with you. So what I'm teaching you are the lessons I just learned. But the question I want to ask you is, when did strain become evidence of growth? And who made the rule that peace and productivity cannot coexist? Let's get into it. You've never seen a tree panic its way into growth. You never see the sun rush to rise faster than yesterday. You never watch the ocean strain to get the tide to come in. Growth is not frantic, growth is rhythmic. There's a passage that says, "Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin." Think about that. Lilies don't grind to justify their existence. They don't compare their bloom to the flower beside them. They don't force expansion. They grow because their environment supports growth. Light, water, nutrients, space. And when conditions align, growth happens. Not because of panic, but because of divine design. Now, let me clarify something. Effort matters. Discipline matters. I have so many videos on this channel about discipline. Commitment matters. But there's a difference between effort and unnecessary strain. Effort is intentional. Strain is anxious. Effort says, I'm building something with clarity. Strain says, if I don't push harder than everyone else, I'll disappear. Effort is focused energy. Strain is fear disguised as ambition. And I want you to hear me. Fear-based productivity will always have a ceiling because your nervous system can't live in fight or flight forever. And when we operate in constant urgency, our creativity narrows, our patience shrinks, our joy fades, and our relationships suffer. You become effective, but not expansive. Busy, but not fulfilled. Winning, but not well. And here's what high performers understand that hustlers don't. Elite athletes don't train at maximum intensity every single day. They build recovery into their systems. Muscles grow in recovery, not during the lift. Special operators train rhythm, not chaos. They move with precision and not panic. Top executives protect white space on their calendar because they understand that clarity requires margin. Longevity requires recovery. And sustainability requires rhythm. You don't win because you suffer more. You win because you sustain longer. And here's what I had to confront personally. I didn't fully trust that steady, aligned action was enough. So my solution was to manufacture urgency. Let's add some pressure where it's not necessary. And I ended up equating tension with traction, because if it felt calm, I assumed I wasn't pushing hard enough. But calm doesn't mean stagnant. Calm can mean aligned. Calm can mean efficient. Calm can mean that you eliminated the unnecessary. An unnecessary strain is often just mismanaged energy. The hustle lie says harder equals better. But harder is not better. Better is better. Clear is better. Focused is better. Strategic is better. Consistent, recovered, aligned. They are all better. And while adrenaline feels powerful, adrenaline is not a strategy. Adrenaline is survival chemistry, while alignment is long-term architecture. Some of you don't push hard because you love growth. You push hard because you're afraid to slow down. Because if you slow down, you might end up feeling what you've been avoiding. If you slow down, you might question your identity. If you slow down, you might realize that your worth is tied to output. And that's just uncomfortable. So you stay busy, you stay in motion, you stay strained because stillness feels dangerous. But stillness is where alignment recalibrates. And I made this video to pose this question. What if growth isn't supposed to feel like constant tension? What if the next level doesn't require more force? What if it requires more refinement, less comparison, less ego-driven urgency, less proving, but more rhythm, precision, and intention? In nature, growth accelerates when resistance is removed, not when panic is increased. Growth accelerates when roots have room to expand, because the principle is where there is space, things multiply. Maybe your next breakthrough isn't about adding more. Maybe it's about subtracting pressure from your life. Here's the practical shift. Stop measuring progress by exhaustion. Stop using tired as proof. Instead, ask questions like, am I clear? Am I focused? Am I consistent? Am I building something that can sustain my life and not just my ego? You don't have to bleed for every breakthrough. And no matter what society says, you don't have to suffer for every single success in life. And you don't have to hustle for your worth. Consider the lilies. They don't grind to prove they belong. They bloom because they were designed to. And so were you. Let me leave you with this picture. Imagine two blacksmiths in the same town. Both are known for crafting swords. The first one believes something simple. If I'm not hammering harder than everyone else, I'll fall behind. So he swings with everything he has. He's fast, he's aggressive, he's relentless. Sparks are flying everywhere. His arm is shaking from holding and swinging, and sweat is starting to pour down his face. And from the outside, it looks impressive. People walk by and point and say, wow, look how hard he's working. The dude is sweating through his clothes. But what they don't see is his blows are uneven. His timing is off, and his metal is overheating. Microfractures begin to form in the blade, and while it looks powerful when he's done, it won't last through battle. Second blacksmith works a little differently. He still swings the hammer. The effort is a part of the job. But he pays attention to rhythm. Heat, strike, turn, pause. Reheat, strike again. There's intensity, but there's also patience. He knows something that the first blacksmith doesn't. Steel isn't strengthened by constant impact. It's strengthened by controlled pressure and precise timing. He knows if you never pull it from the fire, it becomes brittle. If you never let it cool, it loses its integrity. And if he keeps swinging, he's gonna ruin the blade. So he respects the rhythm. Fire, hammer, rest, repeat. And when the swords are finished, one shines under pressure and the other one shatters. Which blacksmith are you building your life like? Are you like the first one? More force, more heat, more swings and no pause? Maybe you look impressive, but internally cracks are forming in your life? Cracks like exhaustion and resentment? If you are, I want to tell you this. Constant strain doesn't forge strength, it forges brittleness. And you were not designed to live in the fire 24/7. You were designed for cycles. Cycles like intensity, recovery, and refinement. Repeat. Not panic, not permanent pressure, not identity built on exhaustion. The goal isn't to swing the hammer harder than everyone else. The goal is to build something that can endure. So maybe this season, the bravest thing for you to do isn't pushing harder. Maybe it's to step back long enough to build a rhythm, because alignment doesn't look dramatic, but it lasts. If you enjoyed that video, go ahead and throw in the comments, I'm choosing alignment. And always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you. And I'll see you on the next one.